There's a rumor going around that the rich boy, Liam, is no longer interested in the deaf girl he once promised to marry, Elena, in front of everyone. I took off my hearing aid and watched him from far away in the crowd. Then, without thinking twice, I turned around and walked away in front of everyone. The usually calm Liam got upset. It's been a week since Liam and I broke up. On the very day we broke up, news of his marriage to Sophia went viral across the internet. Liam had invested a whopping 200,000 albums for Sophia, who isn't even a professional musician, causing a significant uproar in the music industry. Suddenly, the story of a wealthy young master lavishly spending on love just to gain the affection of a beautiful woman dominated the streets. Media outlets quickly released photos of the seemingly perfect couple, making it appear as though they were destined to be together. I picked up my phone and saw Liam's messages were still 2 days old. "I'm getting engaged to Sophia, Maya. It's not that I can't live without you, but you won't accept others, and they're all vying for my attention." My heart throbbed with intense pain as I held my chest, noticing a few women entering, laughing and chatting. Finally, Liam looked up. "You know, I never understood why he dated a deaf girl when he could have someone like Sophia. It was mismatched from the start. How could it ever work? Maya was just too naive," said I think it's less about being naive and more about her scheming, dreaming of becoming Liam's wife. She got dumped anyway. What a shame. I wonder how she'll cope from now on. Their mocking didn't cease upon seeing me. Instead, it intensified like a tidal wave. To everyone else, Liam and I didn't even deserve to be mentioned together. He was a well-known young master, while I was just an obscure independent musician. We came from different worlds, and everyone assumed Liam's interest in me was just a fleeting fancy. Despite sometimes enjoying lavish meals, Liam was exceptionally kind to me. He actively pursued me, knowing my passion for music. On our first day together, he rented out all the major screens in the city to display my original songs on repeat and publicly announced our relationship on Facebook. His attractive features shone proudly under the neon lights. The following day, my name was trending everywhere thanks to Liam's fame. My handful of songs, which barely had 100 listeners, received tens of thousands of comments overnight. Rumors spread rapidly, with people claiming I had enchanted Liam, yet he pretended not to notice and introduced me to all his friends in a private booth. I watched him laugh heartily, fist-bumping with stylishly dressed men and women, discussing topics I couldn't comprehend, like billion-dollar projects and wines I could never afford. I couldn't follow the conversation, only quietly holding my tea. A well-dressed woman in high heels stood up, laughing and covering her mouth as she walked away. Perhaps accidentally. The next moment, a hand silently shoved me to the ground, causing my hearing aid to fall off and plunging my world into silence once more. Fear took over me as I, pale-faced, fumbled on the floor. Liam bowed his head and asked, "What's wrong?" In the dim light, his face flickered between light and shadow. I could barely see his lips move before darkness covered them again. Finally, he noticed my distress. Everyone realized something was wrong. They pointed to their ears in front of Liam. As luck would have it, a beam of light illuminated, allowing me to clearly read his lips. "Are you crazy? You chose a deaf girl?" At that moment, an overwhelming sense of inferiority flooded me, marking the first time I truly understood the gap between Liam and me. Every second with him was filled with hurtful words that never ceased. "Are you really deaf? Can a deaf person even write songs? Just using Liam for support? A woman should be realistic, knowing what she can and cannot have. Without Liam, you're nothing, Maya." Doubt enveloped me like a whirlpool. I considered breaking up. Perhaps my thoughts were too obvious. Before I could respond, Liam, usually composed, had tears in his eyes. He hugged me tightly from behind, kissing my earlobe repeatedly and apologizing. "Maya, don't make a scene. Let's not break up. To me, you're perfect. You have no flaws." Since then, Liam never invited me to his gatherings. Maybe it was to comfort me or to make amends, but how could a young, passionate girl resist such intense emotions? Maybe it was his genuine fervor, or perhaps I simply didn't care about our social differences. I naively believed our love could overcome any obstacles, and life seemed to improve. Eventually, through my efforts, I received an invitation to a relatively well-known music show. Excited to share the news with Liam, I overheard his conversation with a friend. "Liam, there's no need to go to such lengths with Maya just to defy your mime. Auntie is already furious. You'll marry Sophia eventually. Don't get too involved. Take a brother's advice. Break up with that deaf girl sooner. The silence that followed lasted a long time, making me think Liam wouldn't speak, but I heard his indifferent voice through the door. Maya's pretty obedient. It's just dating, not marriage. Looking back, what Liam lacked was never a lifelong partner. He simply needed a compliant and entertaining lover. I stared at my expressionless reflection in the mirror. Somewhere along the way, my vitality had been drained. Each day I lived like a lifeless shell. I slowly applied lipstick, and as I approached the door, the stage manager, looking distressed, hurried to stop me. "Jordan, you seem troubled. I'm really sorry, but we may not be able to let you on stage." I froze momentarily. The manager appeared young and felt bad about informing me at the last minute. He cautiously reminded me, "Maya, some decisions aren't up to the show's crew. You really don't want to offend anyone important." He wanted to say more, but two familiar figures entered arm in arm. The previously dispersed crowd surged like a beehive as they walked in. Then I watched the commotion with my eyes fixed on the tall man with long legs. His indifferent yet somewhat passionate gaze casually glanced my way, making him look exceptionally handsome. He didn't shy away from meeting my eyes directly. My gaze shifted from his stern face to the fair arm around him. The beautiful woman beside him smiled sweetly, leaning against Liam. Seeing me, she tightened her grip on his arm. In that moment, everything clicked into place. Liam knew better than anyone how much I cherished this music show, and that it was my lifelong dream to showcase my music on a real stage. I had practiced daily to overcome my fears and stood out among hundreds of applicants. My room was cluttered with crumpled sheet music scattered in trash and corners. I had spent many sleepless nights perfecting my performance, yet with just one offhand remark from him, I was easily discarded. At that moment, an insurmountable gap separated us as he approached step by step. He smirked, but his voice cut through me like a cold, sharp sword. "I told you, Maya. He said things you don't want. Plenty of others do." Liam knew exactly how to crush me. There's nothing more ruthless than destroying someone's dreams. Years of self-control broke down uncontrollably at that moment. To everyone's shock, I slapped Liam hard across the face. I used to cherish him, seeing him as a beacon in my life, but now my heart felt dead. I looked at him calmly as his eyes filled with disbelief. "So you can just trample on others' efforts, Liam? You disgust me," I said, turning to leave. Sophia's concerned, soft voice kept ringing in my ears. I felt Liam's piercing gaze locking onto my back through the crowd. When had the golden boy ever been treated like this? Every inch of my back felt like it was burning. I walked faster, not daring to look back. By the time I reached outside the hall, it was already pouring rain. The dark night had swallowed the usual brightness. My phone buzzed again. My father, slurring his words from drunkenness, continued to harshly scold me. "Little deaf girl, tell me, why would Liam marry someone else? You had a rich man, and you let him go. Tell me, can you do anything right? Can I do anything right?" I stared blankly ahead, my eyes devoid of light, taking deep breaths to hold back my tears as the voice on the phone rambled on. "Your mom left because of you. Liam doesn't want you either. And you're still a cripple." How could I have been born such a curse? Hearing this, I couldn't help but force a bitter smile. "Dad, if it wasn't for the slap you gave me back then, do you think I'd be deaf?" With that, I decisively hung up. The phone kept ringing, but I didn't answer. I wiped my face with my forearm. No one could bear seeing their hard work taken away instantly, but I felt too insignificant. The only thing I could do now was start over. Liam would surely target me even more in the future. I couldn't let him affect my mood. After some reflection, I contacted a studio that had extended multiple invitations, which I had previously turned down. We chatted briefly, and they said they were still willing to purchase the rights to a few of my unreleased sheet music for a high price. If I agreed, we could sign the contract immediately. I was a bit hesitant, as I had previously declined their offers due to their eagerness. After all, I wasn't a renowned musician. Why would a studio pay a high price for an average person's sheet music rights? But when I finally inquired, they responded with just 2 sentences. "Everyone has a chance to shine. Besides, you're a diamond in the rough." Those words felt strangely familiar. We scheduled the contract signing for Saturday. We chose a private cafe as the meeting place. Upon arriving, the large cafe was empty. The owner prepared a cup of my favorite Americano. I sipped the coffee and took out my phone. The music show where Sophia replaced me had aired the previous night. I guess Liam had pulled some strings to capitalize on the online buzz, urging the production team to accelerate it. Sophia seized the opportunity to debut her new song, Blossom, on the show. While singing, she gazed tenderly at Liam, who was seated in the audience. The perceptive producer quickly focused the camera on Liam's striking face. At the end, they used the final lyrics to openly confess to Liam, "You are a beam of light. Knowing you, I fear I will fade away silently." When the song ended, the production team, aiming for more buzz, used a shot of Sophia and Liam together as the cover image for the show. Online discussions exploded. Just half an hour into the broadcast, numerous entries about Sophia started flooding the trending topics. Sophia the genius, Sophia and Liam, Sophia's new song, Bloom. I was the only one whose face paled upon hearing the song. I had written it 2 years ago. Every word in the lyrics concealed my indescribable love for Liam. I'm not good at expressing myself. Only in songs could I reveal these feelings so openly. I had planned to give this song to Liam as a birthday present, but he was busy with family matters then. By the time we met again, a month had passed. In the end, I didn't get to give him the song. Instead, it was tossed into the deepest part of my drawer. Liam always said I was awkward, reluctant to express my love openly. Later, I thought that if I could one day take my music to the stage, I would perform this song again and give it to him in front of everyone. So, Liam didn't just steal my song, he gave it to Sophia, using my love as a sacrifice to fuel his relationship with her. At the end of the show, when the host asked Fiona about the inspiration behind the song, she smiled shyly and carefully glanced toward Liam, who remained silent in the distance. Did that even need to be asked? Among the guests, cheers erupted and the chat exploded with comments. Sophia definitely wrote her love for Liam into the lyrics. Where did our Sophia get her genius from? And what's this, Maya? Even supposed to be marketing yourself as deaf all day long? Who knows if that's true or not? People without skills like to seek attention in such ways. The vicious comments didn't stop. I stared at them, unblinking and dazed, when a well-defined hand grabbed my phone without hesitation. He then flipped it over and set it aside. I looked up. Unlike Liam's reserved handsomeness, the man before me was bold in temperament, with slightly raised brows, long eyes, and a distinctly alluring mole beneath one of them. It was Ethan, the rising new movie star of the year. Seeing my reddened eyes, a hint of displeasure flashed across his face. "Years without seeing you. How did our little genius end up like this?" His words left me slightly dazed. Ethan and I had known each other since our school days, once planning to form our own band. Later, I had an accident with my ears, and he went abroad due to family issues. The next time I saw him was on a TV screen. Seeing me still silent, he sighed and sat across from me. "You're even harder to reach than those famous directors. Oil and water don't mix. It's harder to see you than to reach for the stars." Actually, Ethan had contacted me under his own name, wanting to shoot a music video together. But at the time, I was dealing with another argument with Liam, hitting walls everywhere. When a girl introduced me to a film director during one of our shared sessions, we both passed the theme song selection. I was happy until the director blatantly placed his hand on my leg and said, "The final selection depends on our performance." Hearing this, the girl and I exchanged glances, and my face turned pale. He tried to kiss me, but I screamed and pushed him off the chair. When I regained consciousness, my cheeks were already stinging, and stars danced before my eyes as he slapped me. The overweight middle-aged man glared at me viciously, saying, "A deaf girl wanting to sing and compose? The only useful thing about you is your face. I'm choosing you for your looks." He passionately kissed the other girl in front of me. Exhausted, I walked out of the hall. A tall figure with arms crossed was leaning against the wall, phone in hand. Seeing me, he immediately hung up and approached. It seemed like he always found me precisely. He appeared to want to give me something from his pocket, but noticing my injured lip, Liam withdrew his hand. His entire face turned cold, dark as hell itself. He said nothing. I tried to force a smile and tell Liam I was okay, but he didn't even look my way. He took me home, then sat silently in front of the dim couch all night. In the morning, I woke up to pieces of shattered glass and scattered cigarette butts under the coffee table. Gripping my wrist tightly, his voice hoarse and indifferent, he said, "Maya, trust me. I can pave every way for you except in music. Promise me no more music." Liam's expression remained as detached as always, but his voice carried an evident tremble in my ears. We fought fiercely that time. He wanted me to give up all the opportunities I had worked so hard for, to abandon my lifelong dream because to him, they were nothing. In a moment of desperation, I couldn't help but cry out, "Liam, you don't understand me at all. I don't understand you." He was stunned for a moment, then laughed bitterly. "Maya, doing it on your own? Do you really think you can make it? Do you know what else you'll face with your defect? What right do you have to compete with them? If it weren't for the tracking app on your phone, you wouldn't even know all the disgusting things you've encountered like yesterday. You think too much of yourself." Liam stormed out, his harsh words leaving me stunned for a long time. I wanted to say, I worked so hard not just because I love music, but because I selfishly wanted to be someone who could stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I didn't want every accomplishment to be overshadowed by Liam's name. Looking back, maybe that moment planted an irreparable rift between us. Afterwards, we reconciled, but it felt like we'd made some strange pact. Every audition and invitation went through his approval, and he promised not to interfere with my musical pursuits, but an unbalanced scale is doomed to tip. My brows furrowed in contemplation as I pondered. Ethan handed me a contract. "Work with me, Maya. I can help you reclaim that song from Sophia." I snapped out of my reverie, but I never showed that song to anyone. I assumed Ethan was joking. "How did you know that song was mine?" I asked as I opened the contract. Ethan always spoke with a touch of nonchalance. Online, people called him the most unconventional best actor in recent years, but he had been like that since our school days. Unlike me, he never tried to change himself. His favorite saying was, "Flaws aren't necessarily flaws. I just live differently from what people expect. I believe we are both unpolished gems." Such straightforward trust came out of his mouth so easily. "Maya, you know everyone who writes songs has their little habits. Some like to add beats at the transitions, some like to add hooks at the end, just like handwriting. I know you too well. That song, the melody and lyrics, are totally your style. Maya, you're the most talented person in music I've ever met. I don't want you to be restrained by anyone. You once said your biggest dream was to bring your music to the stage. Now I've achieved my own dream. What about you? I think you should achieve yours too." Inspired by Ethan, I discovered a backup of the Bloom score on my computer, but unfortunately, the handwritten draft was missing. Ethan reassured me that it wasn't a big deal and requested that I remove all the songs I had composed over the past 2 years. He then suggested I audition for a new music competition show. I wanted to respond, but he interrupted me. "I didn't speak to the director, I just gave you the opportunity to audition. Whether you succeed or not depends on you. I have faith in your talent," he explained. As he spoke, Ethan's intense gaze was locked on me, and the way he looked at me only strengthened my self-confidence. I genuinely thanked him, but while waiting for the audition results, my heart pounded in my chest. When my name was finally called on the big screen, I couldn't help but stand up in excitement. Exiting the audition room, the air felt fresher than ever. I took a deep breath and accidentally bumped into someone. Sophia removed her sunglasses, glanced me over, and gave a lazy smile. "Do you really need to audition for a small, unknown show like this? Our Liam just shows up and the director rushes over, begging him on his knees to join. I'm still deciding whether to accept," she remarked. I remained indifferent, showing no reaction to her attempts to provoke me. Sophia quickly lost interest. She put her sunglasses back on and said, "Looks like I need to talk to the director about the kind of people joining the show." This woman exuded pure arrogance, but I wasn't angry. I simply shook my head and responded, "I don't want to be on a show with someone who copies others and lacks real talent, only hiding their incompetence through plagiarism. They've lost all competitiveness." My words seemed to strike a nerve. Sophia immediately turned around, pointed at me, and cursed. "Stop slandering me. You're a deaf person who writes and composes music? Who would believe that disabled people should know their place? You'll never get your flawed music on stage. You're not worthy." I let her rant, grateful for my hearing aid for the first time. I removed it, ignored Sophia's frantic behavior, and walked away without looking back. As I turned the corner, I saw someone standing there. Ethan was leaning against the wall, nodding lightly with his headphones on, lost in his own world. When a shadow blocked the light, he slowly opened his eyes, and his amber pupils met mine in the sunlight. "You made it," he stated, not as a question. I nodded. He led me out, his strong frame like a mountain protecting me, towards a dark, brown Maserati. Ethan opened the passenger door, a faint smile on his face, but I didn't get in. Instead, he turned on the Bluetooth speaker, and a familiar, soothing melody with soft humming and guitar played in my ears. It was the little love song I had sung at the school art festival during my senior year. Ethan was my accompanist, and I was the singer. The parking lot was silent. Ethan's voice was as clear, bold, and honest as ever. "Maya, I fell in love with your music at first sight. Music is an adjective," he confessed. After that, we didn't meet again until the music show began filming. That's when I discovered Ethan was one of the judges. He always called me a musical genius, but to me it seemed he was the one deserving of everyone's admiration. Back then, our situations were similar, but while I just sighed and lamented, he shone brightly over everyone else. Ethan excelled in everything he learned. Acting, singing, there seemed to be nothing he couldn't do. He often said, "Life is meant to be lived for yourself. If you want it, there's nothing you can't achieve." From afar, he nodded and smiled at me. His smile was gentle and lingering. I turned my head uncomfortably. Beside me, several other original artists were on the show. Sophia was the last to arrive, softly apologizing to everyone. "I'm sorry, my boyfriend is clingy." It took a moment for her gaze to settle deliberately on me. I had a feeling she was planning something. I guessed the director didn't remove me from the lineup, but paired me with Sophia to generate some online buzz. In the first episode, to add some excitement, they asked us to create an impromptu song with guitar accompaniment about the person we love the most. Every word I wrote was a jab at the Bloom song that Sophia had recently performed. However, looking at Sophia, it was clear she could only sing that song, which wasn't even hers. The show gave us just 20 minutes to prepare, a tight deadline that truly tested a singer's professionalism. I decided to adapt a love song I had written in high school and began tuning my guitar. When the 20 minutes were up, I saw Sophia reluctantly put down her pen. During her performance, the judges' expressions shifted from anticipation to confusion and disappointment. One judge diplomatically commented, "Maybe inspiration strikes at certain moments. Compared to Sophia's Bloom, this one falls a bit short. But since Sophia has Liam supporting her..." Despite her terrible performance, no one dared to criticize her outright. They had to continue praising her to ensure she remained in the competition, as the show's script required Sophia to be the ultimate champion. When the episode airs, people will watch it for entertainment, and few viewers would grasp the nuances of music. If the judges continued to flatter Sophia, the audience would follow suit blindly. Sophia genuinely believed in the empty praise, while Ethan, who hadn't commented at all, was repeatedly called upon by the host. Everyone's attention was on him because Ethan's expertise was widely recognized in both the music and entertainment industries. His remarks acted as a stabilizing force, steering public opinion accurately. He raised an eyebrow, his eyes slightly narrowing, and a faint smirk appeared at the corner of his mouth. "What was that?" The room fell silent instantly. Sophia's arrogant smile froze on her face. Ethan acted as if he hadn't just said anything, resting his chin on his hand and staring in my direction. The camera focused on me. With a familiar tune and my lyrical skills, once I started singing, the entire audience went wild. I had barely reached halfway through when I was abruptly stopped. The judges' expressions changed. "Maya, improvising doesn't mean plagiarizing someone else's work," murmurs spread through the audience. "Plagiarism? Has Maya lost her mind? She's actually plagiarizing." I knew it. How could a deaf person participate in a music show? She should be out after the first episode. I can't believe I had hope for her. You just can't trust someone with a disability to compose and sing. I bet all her previous songs were plagiarized too. Sophia looked smug, clearly enjoying my public downfall. At that moment, Ethan, who hadn't said anything, finally reacted. He pursed his lips, tilted his head, and pulled out the sheet music for Bloom. "A song is like a child. It resonates only with its creator. Contestant number 1. He glanced at Sophia. What was your initial inspiration for creating Bloom? Can you explain the meaning behind each line in the lyrics? And what does the title represent? Caught off guard, Sophia couldn't answer a single question. She finally stammered with a dark expression. That's not relevant to today's improvisation in any way. I've already got the pass card. Ethan then turned to me. How is it not relevant? Improvisation still relies on the creator's own skills. An artist's style can vary, but their work always carries their imprint. In your song, I barely see any of your touch. Even in today's improvisation, it's just a poor attempt to mimic Bloom. However, Ethan's smile turned chilling. Ironically, I see Maya's influence in Bloom. I immediately understood his point. Seeing him look at me again, I smiled and confidently explained the inspiration behind my impromptu song. In the end, I bluntly stated, I don't know if anyone else thinks the title Bloom matches the lyrics because the original title wasn't Bloom, it was Dream. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the director frantically signaling to turn off the cameras. I chuckled and raised my voice. The lyrics aren't about passionate love, but about the humility and longing behind it. She longs to be on equal footing with her beloved, walking side by side into the future. I turned to see Sophia shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't help but laugh softly. Stolen things are always stolen. If you have the guts, steal my brain too. Otherwise, I can write hundreds of songs better than Dream, and you'll never have another one. At that point, the show was urgently paused. Reality TV can be edited, so Sophia demanded the director cut this part out and warned everyone present not to mention it. However, people have their own mouths, and someone brave must have recorded the scene on their phone and posted it online. Other netizens confirmed the incident was real. In the music industry, plagiarism is disgraceful enough to completely remove someone from the circle. The public followed suit, and instantly the tide turned in my favor. Additionally, Ethan, the acclaimed actor, quickly posted on Facebook condemning plagiarism and openly siding with me. Sophia ended up being utterly shamed. Her previous songs were also uncovered and found to contain traces of plagiarism. A small-time singer came forward holding her ID, tearfully claiming that Sophia had stolen her song, produced it into an album, and threatened to ruin her life if she spoke up. This sparked a wave of public outrage. People flooded Sophia's account with curses, sent official complaints to take her songs down, and some even found her license plate number. People were throwing rotten eggs at her car as things escalated. Sophia became a social pariah. Forced to feign death online, seizing the momentum, I shared my unreleased songs and compositions. On Ethan's advice, I recorded an original version of Dream. Unlike Sophia's overly dramatic rendition, I started with a low pitch and split the climax into 2 parts, like a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon, telling a story of a love that ends in tragedy but defies fate. This was the song's true essence. Some attentive listeners even found Liam's name hidden in Dream. Comments poured in. We were wrong. I think Maya and Liam are a better match. Maya must have loved Liam deeply to the point of not daring to say it. Maya probably felt she wasn't good enough for Liam. This love, destined for a bad ending, breaks my heart. Everyone realized my love for Liam and how I had carefully hidden his name in every corner of the lyrics, but he shattered it himself and handed it over to someone else. 2 days later, Liam held a press conference publicly announcing his engagement to Sophia. He must have thought this would quell the negative publicity surrounding Sophia. After all, her family's business had plummeted due to the plagiarism scandal. As her fiancé, he couldn't stay active. Sophia also posted on Facebook, saying she would leave the music industry to make amends, indirectly admitting she had plagiarized my song. Because of this, my status saw a dramatic reversal. Offers poured in non-stop. The music show that had recently terminated the contract also reached out to apologize, saying they had lost a talent. They asked if I was willing to rejoin their second season and continue composing for them. 3 months later, I wore a pink and white mermaid dress, holding Ethan's arm as we stepped onto the stage. I was so proud. This time, everyone finally remembered me. I held up the Best Song Award trophy, tears welling up in my eyes as everyone clapped for me. All the acceptance speech I had prepared disappeared under the spotlight. Ethan waited quietly by my side, carefully adjusting the microphone with a gentle look in his eyes. No one would speak ill of me anymore, I thought. After a while, encouraged by Ethan's gaze, I finally mustered the courage to speak. This journey had its tears, laughter, pain, and moving moments, but I have never regretted it. Music is my lifelong pursuit, and there is no other. I bowed. When I looked up, I saw a pair of restrained eyes in the audience. Ethan was sitting there, his eyes red, staring at me motionlessly. After the awards ceremony ended, Liam blocked me at the door of the banquet. He looked quite disheveled, with a cut on his lip, stubble on his usually well-groomed chin, and fatigue in his eyes. I could faintly see bruises on his neck. I had seen news about him. It said he left Sophia alone at the engagement party, making a huge scene involving both families. But I didn't pay much attention until he saw me. The once arrogant prince's eyes turned red. He took a step forward, hesitated, and carefully grabbed my wrist in a hoarse voice. I spent 3 months realizing how much I love you. I didn't know that song was for... He paused, determination in his eyes. I've told my family clearly I won't marry Sophia. I'll only help her this one time. I'll work hard to convince them to accept you. Seeing my silence, a flash of panic crossed his eyes, but he forced himself to stay calm. Will you get back with me, Maya? I looked at him expressionlessly. Liam finally panicked. He awkwardly adjusted his clothes. Then his eyes lit up as he took out a silver ring from his pocket, trying to put it on my ring finger. Maya, I know you still love me. You always wanted to marry me. Let's get married now. Right now. His words were careless, the ones I had longed to hear. He never understood what I truly wanted. Liam, the world doesn't revolve around you. I suddenly shook off his hand, and the ring flew out, landing on the ground. It rolled a bit and stopped at the side. He looked shocked, staring blankly at the ring in the corner. I turned to leave, but Liam grabbed my arm and pulled me back. He hugged me tightly and whispered in my ear, Maya, sometimes I really don't understand you. You're both fragile and stubborn, leaving me clueless about what to do. You refuse to accept any help from me, even when you're in trouble. You try to figure it out yourself. You make me feel like you don't love me at all. It seems like you love your music more than me. He seemed on the verge of being moved by his own words. I thought I didn't necessarily need him, but I still gradually fell for him. Even though I knew I would eventually have to leave him as a member of the Liu family, I didn't have the right to choose my marriage. I had to marry into the Chen family, yet I couldn't bear to let him go. In that moment, I realized I loved him more than I had thought. But looking at his self-pitying face, I found him ridiculously laughable. Liam, aren't you tired of acting? He was stunned. I took a step back, suddenly widening the distance between us, drawing a clear line. I don't love you anymore. Don't bother me again. He tried to step forward again, and from the corner of my eye, I saw a tall figure rushing out quickly. With one punch, Liam was knocked to the ground. Ethan stood protectively in front of me, hiding his usual carefree demeanor. His back slightly heaved with anxiety as he looked down at Liam struggling to get up. Fighting in public is unsightly. I poked Ethan's waist with my finger. His back stiffened for a moment, but then relaxed quickly. Let's go, I whispered. Ethan obediently turned around. After a few steps, we heard a low roar from behind. Maya, if you don't love me, then tell me what's the deal with that song. You used to be so obedient, but those stupid songs have turned you into this. He seemed desperate to find a truth that only belonged to him. I paused and turned slightly. The moon was full tonight, casting a fine light over Liam's head. For the first time, I saw fragility in Liam. He stared at me stubbornly, as if he were just waiting for my answer. The man's face overlapped with the boy who once saved me at the alley entrance. For the first time since our separation, I spoke seriously to him. Liam, you never thought about being with me forever. You never knew how to respect me. I curled my lips into a mocking smile. Just like now, you never understand my likes and feelings. This isn't love, it's possessiveness. A pampered prince like you would never easily offer someone your true heart. Liam never understood my insecurities, nor did he care to. By now, the only thing he's struggling with is why I stopped loving him. How could I stop loving him? Plus, I wasn't so obedient because I wanted to be. I was obedient because I was scared, and at that time, I loved you a lot. But now, you just disgust me. I added a lot and turned to walk forward. This ring I wanted to give you 3 years ago, Liam suddenly shouted, picking up the ring from the ground and holding it up as he spoke. His voice choked up, but back then I wasn't sure. I couldn't hear clearly. After that, I didn't stop walking. Ethan matched my pace, naturally starting to discuss the soundtrack for the latest movie he was working on. By the way, Ethan, there's a soccer match at the stadium soon. Wanna go? I paused, noticing Ethan's eyes seemed normal. He never paid extra attention to me. Whatever he could enjoy, I could too. I nodded at him. He seemed relieved, slowed his pace, and walked contentedly beside me. Moonlight broke through the clouds. This time, I would follow my path without hesitation. Later, I poured all my focus into my career. In recent years, I won multiple awards in music, sparking jealousy from others. Overnight, I received thousands of comments claiming my success was solely due to Ethan's help. Negative reviews fueled public opinion. I read one comment first. It was from Liam. Now it's Ethan's turn. Has Maya ever achieved anything on her own? Before I could react, a user named When Will Ethan Achieve His Dreams clapped back. Every negative comment about me was persistently rebutted by this person. I stayed up all night reading those comments. The next morning, Ethan called, saying he wanted to help explain things on Facebook. I replied offhandedly, "Wouldn't that just confirm their claims even more?" Ethan went silent. I ended up comforting him. "I know you're worried about me, but I have a plan." He didn't hang up, but after a while sighed. "Maya, you've really changed a lot." I paused, then chuckled. "I've got a lot of people around me who encourage me now. Negativity and encouragement impact a person very differently." I immediately picked up a pen and wrote a new song. I didn't use professional recording equipment, just earphones and guitar accompaniment. I softly sang a story about a girl with a hearing impairment chasing her dreams and succeeding on her own. The song went viral. The same day, the topic, "Why can't women make it on their own?" trended at number 1. Why can't women make it on their own? If you have talent and ability, why not show it? I support Maya. When she was with Liam, she never used her music to gain attention. She respects music more than anyone. You guys are just jealous of her success. This song nearly brought me to tears. Maya must be telling her own story. Fans are feeling nostalgic. My old song Dream is trending again. Liam's name is coming up a lot, along with Sophia's current miserable state. I heard that after Liam ditched her at the altar, Sophia went nuts, called the press, and kept attempting suicide to force Liam to marry her. She calmed down for a few days after Liam slapped her in public, but now she was threatening to jump off a building. However, Liam refused to give in, even saying if they push him too hard, he'd just become a monk, and no one would be able to control him. Liam's dad nearly beat him to death with a cane in front of reporters. Liam was still recovering in the hospital. This whole drama was so wild. I couldn't tell if it was real or just a joke. I scrolled further down. Ethan's username, When Canathan Chase His Dreams, popped up again. This guy left like a dozen comments in a row. Isn't Liam supposed to be a monk? Why bring him up? I think Ethan and Maya make a better pair. Stop dwelling on the past and focus on the present. Ethan looked at me strangely. I glanced at the man lying on the sofa with a strange smile on his face and casually said, "You forgot to switch accounts." Ethan's face changed instantly. He sat up quickly. "No way, I thought I switched." When he met my scrutinizing gaze, he awkwardly scratched his head and changed the subject. "Your dad hasn't bothered you again, has he?" This piqued my interest, and I didn't expose him. Instead, I curiously asked, "What did you do? Ever since I became famous, my dad keeps showing up asking for money. If I don't give him any, he causes a scene at my company's entrance. I've called the cops countless times, but they can't do anything since it's a family matter." Ethan rubbed his nose, his attractive almond eyes narrowing with a hint of ruthlessness. "Of course. I had a nice chat with him." I was skeptical, but Ethan's innocent smile made it hard to doubt him. No one knew that night, when Liam's dad made a scene, the usually gentle Ethan's eyes filled with malice as he held a knife to Liam's throat. I wouldn't mind killing someone for Maya, he thought, but fortunately it didn't come to that.